story starts off with Ittoki Sakuraba looking out his classroom's window when his attention gets caught by a shiny object on a distant rooftop that was not so visible owing to the distance between them. A friend of his called out to the teacher that Ittoki was sleeping, and in an attempt to prove he wasn't, he took the teacher's challenge to solve the problem that was on the board. Kousetsu, a blonde-haired girl with the side dyes to match her scarlet eyes and a nose mask, watched him with keen interest as he went to the board. Despite the fact that he failed to get the question wrong, he did not fail to amuse the class. After classes ended for the day, he turned down his friend and asked him to join them for karaoke.
And although he loved the idea, he couldn't because he already had a fixed schedule of different extracurricular activities, including cram school, gymnastics, swimming, judo, dance, and other stuff.
And also because Kousetsu was always lurking around ready to snitch on him if he tried skipping anything. While he was telling all this to his friend, an anonymous female with a dull shade of pink colored hair was also secretly tailing on him. Kousetsu was following him closely behind as they went home and revealed she was doing all the tailing to make sure he didn't skip any lessons. And though she didn't like it, she was doing it because his mother asked her to do so, and did not refuse either because they were childhood friends. At his gymnastics class, his gymnastic tutor advised him to pursue the gymnastics course because he believed he was very good at it. And after the class, he was on his way to cram school when he discovered he was running late, so he decided to use a shortcut. But he was involved in an accident which he managed to escape owing to his matrix-like acrobatic skills. The girl with the magenta colored hair happened to be watching, but her identity remained anonymous. Yumika, Itoki's mother, owned a store where Tokisara, a worker of hers who wasn't very good at customer service, was making jokes at a customer who was complaining about bugs in her veggies and had to be called to order. Yumika-san decided to take his shift before asking him to go pick Ittoki from school, letting him know that he should clock out before leaving, so which he calls her cheap. Even though he and Ittoki shared the same thoughts on the idea of picking him up after school, he still had to do it as it was corporate mandate. In the car, they had a discussion about Ittoki being a goody two-shoes for always doing what his mother wanted of him, even at his displeasure. Yumika arrived home late at night and Ittoki brought up the idea of taking fewer classes and getting a part-time job so he could help with the finances in the house, but his mother strongly opposed it. She told him they had his father's life insurance and he didn't have to quit any of his classes, even in high school. Youth is temporary. Education will last a lifetime, she said. The next morning, Ittoki was going to school with Kousetsu following him behind. She claimed it was a coincidence even though he thought it wasn't, because coincidences don't occur every day. When he got to school, he was shocked to find a letter in his locker, and like any young kid his age, spends the whole day in doubt. Confronting the sender, it was a strange girl with the magenta colored hair, Tsubaki. Tsubaki is junior. She made it known to him that she has been watching him all the time, and to his amazement, she asked him out on a date. On getting home, he lied about having something at school and would have to skip gymnastics class. But his mom saw through the lies and asked him if he had a girlfriend. Much to his surprise, over dinner she told him not to go out with her or even date her because he didn't know her well enough. He felt it was old-fashioned and left the dinner table in anger. Disobeying his mother with the help of his uncle Tokisada, he went to see Tsubaki. Having no idea where to go, she suggested they went to her house. In her room, nervous and not knowing what they could do for fun, Ittoki suggested they watch TV, but Tsubaki was trying to Netflix and chill without Netflix, so she undressed and got on top of him, confessing that she liked him and wanted to do the it. Ittoki pushed her off, and because he was confused, he assumed it was a prank. He bent to check under the bed, but there was a terrifying figure hiding there. Tsubaki then slashed him on the face with a sharp blade and other terrifying figures came out of hiding. These people were ninjas. As she made to attack him again, another ninja broke into the room and held off Tsubaki and the other ninjas while he jumped out the window trying to make an escape. He soon found himself in a car with two other ninjas, Mr. Kozo and Miss Reiha, who happened to be his mother's workers. As they were driving, they were attacked by a jeep that double-crossed them, then they had to fend off the attacking ninjas, asking Ittoki to run to the nearby city for safety. He ran all the way there and then it became night, but then there was a power outage. He saw a policeman and approached him trying to ask him for help. While the policeman was explaining why the power went out, a ninja appeared from behind the police and slit his throat. Trying to escape, two other ninjas appeared and knocked him to the floor. He had given up on life when his uncle, Tokisada, who the other ninjas called Demigod, appeared from nowhere. The policeman stood up when Tokisada had revealed he was aware he was playing dead. With lightning speed, he got to Ittoki and the ninjas attacked, but he obviously annihilated them. Ittoki woke up in Kousetsu's ties, very confused, and she led him to a mansion, which turned out to be their family house, which housed a shinobi of the Iga village. This was revealed by the village chief, which was his mother. Ittoki didn't want to believe that ninjas really existed, but to his dismay they did, and he was a part. It happened that his mother and her workers at the store were all ninjas. He found out that the ninja village had managed to exist in a perfect harmony by abiding the set rules for decades. The Koga village, which wielded the most power, wealth, and modern ninjutsu, had unsettled the balance by scheming to take over the Iga village, and were probably the ones that had attacked him using Tsubaki. Ittoki was shocked that all these were happening, and more surprise came when his mother, the regent's chief, revealed that why the Koga attacked him was he was to become the 19th Iga ninja village successor. She further explained that is why she has been strict with him. Then she asked him to become a ninja. Ittoki is still shocked by everything that is happening and is in disbelief. He suggests getting the police involved, but Mr. Kozo says the police cannot be trusted and says his family is the only group that he can trust. Tokisada gets up and says he's going to borrow Ittoki to talk to him in private. Tokisada tells him that the only two choices are becoming a ninja or dying, and Ittoki begins to cry and laments his fate. Tokisada tells Ittoki that the only options is for him to run away and go into hiding. That was the decision he and Yumika came to because they felt responsible for the Koga coming after him. Tokisada explains that Yumika was never originally a ranger and took up the role because her husband, who was the Iga chief, had died. She had been suffering on her own for a long time. Ittoki begins to cry and decides to stay back for his mother's sake and train to be a ninja. We then see Tsubaki as she was embarrassed that she couldn't finish her mission of killing Ittoki, and she felt she had brought disgrace to her master, Mbisama. She planned to finish him the next time because of the penalty to failure was excommunication or worse, death. Meanwhile, at the Koga village there was a heated argument between the members, one of them being MB about the attack on Iga because Anin was already sniffing around. The Anin is a body created to maintain the balance between the ninja communities. The leader of the meeting was the Koga chief Kishimaru Minobi. He calmed down the room and told them even though that they were thinking about Koga's benefits, that they should be patient, that they would eventually choke the Iga village out. The next day, Ittoki was told that because his current living situation was dangerous, he would have to transfer schools and join the Kokuten Ninja Academy, the only public school for ninjas in Japan. Ittoki thought the video was fake, but he was told it wasn't and that the place was safe because it was not easily accessible and it was protected by the Anin. Raihan-san then told him that the entrance exam was due in 3 days' time. The venue won't be known till the specific date and then Tokisada would be picking him up. Later that day, Ban, the sales manager of Koga Holdings Company, visited Yumika-san's store to break the bad news that could affect their business with Nin Manseika and how they said Nin Manseika would become the branch of Koga Holdings. Kozo-san complained that bribing their partners was a boundary violation, but Ban said that the Anin did not see it that way. To their amazement, Yumika-san accepted it with a smile on her face as she was more concerned about the workers at those factories. We then meet Ban's son, Sazuka, who was in the car waiting for his father. Ban told him to keep his killing intent down, as killing one's own heart makes a true ninja. That night, Ittoki and his mother had dinner, but he asked about his dad for a bit, and his mom changed the conversation and asked him to eat his food while it was still warm. On the day of the exam, Ittoki asked his uncle if he needed to know any special ninjutsu that could help him breathe fire out his mouth or use water like a waterbender from Avatar: The Last Airbender. The Naruto references were crazy. Tokisada then mocks him by lighting his cigarette and calling it fire release jutsu, while Kousetsu joins in by pouring the coffee on the cigarette and calling it water release jutsu. Tokisada then gets a call and lets everyone know he has the location of the exam venue. Ittoki and Kousetsu were taken to the venue by Tokisada. He and Kousetsu were able to take the exam and then they arrived just in time. A store clerk took them to the exam room after telling her a not so special code. There were 4 other examinees in the room. The first exam was a game of hide and seek, and Kousetsu went first with another examinee. While the instructor explained the rules, Ittoki was paired with a girl who happened to be Tsubaki in disguise. Ittoki was then scared to take the test, but he stepped out anyways. While Ittoki was looking for Tsubaki, Tokisada attacked someone who was trying to kill him, choked him out and complimented him for working 100 straight shifts. Meanwhile, Kousetsu had passed her test and joined Tokisada in aiding Ittoki without the knowledge of the examiners to avoid disqualification. She told him that the Koga ninjas were in the store and that they were after him. He planned to run, but he was told that he would be disqualified if he left the venue. A surprise attack came out of nowhere, but Ittoki was saved by Kousetsu from Tsubaki's attack. She used active camouflage to attack them, and so Kousetsu left Ittoki to take care of the danger. Kousetsu and Tsubaki met in the ladies' room, and even though Tsubaki tried to jump her, she ate a couple of hits and then called back up to distract her while she went off to finish Ittoki. She spotted Ittoki across the store and used her active camouflage to get close to him. He then raised the fire alarm and tried to use the fire extinguisher to get people to leave the store. Ittoki also used water release jutsu to get water to spray on Tsubaki, which then ruined her camouflage. She tried to attack Ittoki again, but Kousetsu came to the rescue. Tsubaki was then captured by one of the examiners, One of them told Ittoki that the time limit of 10 minutes was already up by the time the sprinklers began working. He then explained he did it so no one that wasn't involved got hurt. That evening, while in the car, Tokisada got a call that Ittoki had passed the exam and told him to train to become a great ninja. Ittoki was confused as to how he managed to pass. That night at the Koga base, it was brought to the notice of Kinshimaru by Goshogawara, who was the commander of NSC Department 1, that Tsubaki had been apprehended and was in prison alongside 4 others. The chief lied that the arrested ninjas had been missing and they had been searching for them for a month. He apologized to Goshogawara, who got a call from the NSC as he left the Koga building. On getting to the prison, he found Tsubaki dead in her cell. A few months later, Ittoki graduated from middle school and told his friends he would be going to Tokyo. His friends told him they would miss him and they asked him to visit when he could. That night, his mother told him to study hard to become a great village chief, and the next day, Tokisada dropped him and Kousetsu at the train station. They took the incoming train and after about 3 hours, they arrived at the Kokuten Ninja Academy, which was located far from human inhabitation. They got off the train station and not long later, he made acquaintance with a girl who introduced herself as Roiko Suzone, and they left with a group of friends. My boy had that unspoken raise, which made Kousetsu kick him. Ittoki told Kousetsu that school life could be fun while he admired the place, which made her annoyed, causing her to walk away. While he was looking around, he bumped into some other students who seemed annoyed as he crossed their path. One of them was Suzaku, the son of Ban from earlier. A female student suddenly showed up, fake being his friend, before stealing him away to prevent things from escalating. She told him that those guys were the elite Koga ninjas and could make his school life over if he ticked them off. She introduced herself as Kire, which means pretty. He thanked her and told her he was from the Iga village, and she was amazed because she had heard a lot about his village, but also because her village situation was the same as his. She offered to be friends with him and he agreed, then they shook hands. A while later, there was an orientation and they were given the 3 ninja principles by their principal. Do not be discovered, do not kill, do not betray. During class, Kire finds out she and Ittoki were classmates and then he introduced her to Kousetsu. In the cafeteria while they were buying food, Kire made Ittoki pick something that looked like a lump of coal for lunch, and when he questioned it, she said picking something else might tick the Koga ninja boys off, and since they had both money and power coupled with numbers, it was going to be hard to beat them, so the best option was to avoid them. That didn't make sense to me, but okay, I guess. The Koga ninjas noticed Ittoki looking in their direction, and when one of them, Himura, tried to confront him, Suzaki stopped him so he could talk to Ittoki. He told Ittoki that the Iga ninjas had killed Kishimaru, who was believed to be the most talented ninja in Koga history. He believed Kishimaru should not have died, and that the Koga would never forgive Iga for that. At this point, we see Tokisada asking Ittoki's mother why she didn't give him the full story, but she said it was too late for that and she asked him to focus on his efforts on finding the person who might have killed Kishimaru. At the end of the day, the trio was going to the dorm and Ittoki was pleased because he thought the building looked nice. However, Kiri showed them to their dorm, which looked like a rundown haunted house. They really had my man in the trenches. Kiri apologized for bailing on them earlier but advised them to bail if they ever ran into those Koga students. That night, Kousetsu came to his room and told him to ignore everything Sazuka said because they were mere accusations and they should prepare for the drill the next day. The next day, they had a ninja drill where the instructor was explaining their task. They were to use the given ninja suits and ninja cores for the task, even though Ittoki didn't know what those were. Kousetsu didn't offer much help to him. He eventually figured it out though. The instructor then explained that to test the suits they were going to have to go to a faraway hill, which made Ittoki confused. They were asked to wear the equipment and then go to the top of the hill where the principal, who had a large appetite, was eating manju. Bringing a manju would be proof that they had gotten to the top of the hill. The instructor tells them to use their middle school training and pass the test and then set them on their way. Everyone except Ittoki knew how to use the ninja suit and core. He couldn't even move and Kousetsu offered him no help. The Koga boys were mocking Ittoki for not knowing how to use the equipment and were even planning to finish him off, but Sazuka told them that the principal would be watching and they should be smart. Because Ittoki was having issues moving in the suit, the instructor threatened to have him expelled for lack of aptitude. At that moment, Roko stepped in and helped him adjust the suit, noting that it wasn't custom made. He had to make sure the suit was properly fitted before it would work. She was rambling about ninja suits for a while and then caught herself before giving him a nudge to get him moving. Ittoki was happy he could move, but he couldn't control himself. He fell off the cliff. Meanwhile, Roiko explained she was from Saiga village and they made ninja suit and cores, which explained her love for modern ninjutsu and technology. But Ittoki was trying to focus on the test at that particular time, so they continued with the drill. Sasuke and Kousetsu were the first to reach the location of the hill, but Sasuke kicked her off and went on to be the first to get the manju. He asked her if she thought she could protect Ittoki with her current skill level before leaving, and she followed next. Even Kairi got hers and was offered tea by the principal. Roiko and Ittoki were still on their way. Sasuke spotted them and charged at Ittoki, but Kousetsu jumped in and saved him. They went on as they made for the second island. Ittoki noticed something was wrong and asked Roiko to go on without him. He went into the bush and saw Kirei that had just been robbed of her manju and her ninja core was damaged. She tried to play it off as an attack from a hissing cat, but later admitted that all these had been done by those Koga ninjas. He walked in on Himura and two other guys who had robbed Kirei trying to steal another guy's manju. He told them to stop, but this made them focus on him. They began to rock his shit and they also tried breaking his ninja core, but Ittoki manages to fend off the attack. Just as they were about to finish him off, the principal steps in and interrupts the fight. He then says he's going to punish both sides for fighting, which makes Himura and his goons leave. The principal then told him to hurry up because the manju would soon be eaten up. Back in the forest, Ittoki returned the manju to Kairi and helped her put to the road where Roiko came to help out so he could go finish the drill. Meanwhile, Himura got to the examiner but couldn't provide his manju when he realized it was stolen by Ittoki during their fights. Sasuke slaps Himura and tells him he's disappointed. When Ittoki finally got to the top of the hill, the principal had just one manju remaining and began dishing out some words of wisdom before eating the last manju in Ittoki's face, leaving him with nothing to take back to the examiner. At school, Ittoki was all alone as the Koga boys had threatened anyone who had mingled themselves with the eager students, which made everyone avoid him. At the dispenser, Kousetsu met with him and they got what they wanted to eat. Then Roiko and Kirei joined them at their table. Shinobi no Ittoki is pretty interesting, but based on what I've seen so far, there's nothing too special. There are a lot of things that could have been properly explained and overall it could have been better written. That being said, I didn't dislike watching the show and I like the Naruto references in it, like the fire jutsu. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. If you enjoyed watching this content, please like and subscribe to the channel and consider checking out our other videos.